we had a St. Patrick's Day parade over here in Kingston, when St. Patrick's Day parade was, about a week before, the real one. But anyway, I'm walking down the street with a buddy of mine, Dr. Skolnick, and we hear the bands playing. And he said to me, "Hey, let's go join the parade. It's a 2.5-mile parade from Colonial Kingston up here down to the waterfront, one of the deepest deep water ports in the Hudson River. This place is Colonial Kingston. I mean, its history is here. The Senate House, the Constitution passed through here. More colonial buildings than anywhere else in the U.S. But anyway, the thing is playing. So I hear this band, the Capitol Brass, a great brass band, really bunch of old and young cats, really know what they were doing. I get out in the middle of the street and I start dancing along with the band. Here's what I saw. The first thing I saw was a mongoloid little boy, and he's beating to the beat of the band. And everybody around him is really tight, but this kid's really beating away. And then I keep dancing with the band, and all of a sudden this young woman comes out holding a stuffed animal, maybe about 14, 15 years old, a little overweight. And she comes out and starts dancing with me. Now remember, this is the parade going down Broadway in Colonial Kingston, New York. And she thinks I'm with the band. And so do the people that are watching her. And when she comes out and starts dancing with me, we start dancing. And we're having a great time. They say, "Oh, he has to go now, he has to go." I move on. Here's the moral of the story. The only two people where the sound hit their heart were the people that we would say are not all there. They were the only ones that were all there. Everyone was stopping the music from hitting their heart because of the movie they have playing in their heads.
Yeah, they've been taught.
They can't be who they are.
That's right. You got it. That's a very interesting observation. So the so-called defectives who haven't successfully been programmed are still open to hearing beauty and specialness. And they heard it.
Exactly. And there's nothing between the sound and the heart that can't penetrate it if your mind isn't blocking it. And that's all I'm saying, is everybody right now that's not coming forward, stepping out, and being the person that founding father, Thomas Paine. Yeah. Thomas Paine.
A great writer. Nobody knows about him. Wonderful writer.
And it was about the individual.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. The people that believe they're patriots, it's going back to the roots of this country. It's rediscovering its greatness. And the greatness was that you could be who you wanted to be and become anything you wanted to. And no one would stop you.
That's what we were taught as kids, Gerald. And when we went to school, we had that as a goal. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? And it was wide open. It was exciting. It was just wonderful in its scope. And now these kids, I think, are being taught it's not what you want to be. It's what we want you to be to serve the interests of the herd, the nation, the community, communism, Agenda 21. They're trying to teach people to be reactive servants rather than proactive achievers. And I read that story, and I don't have it at hand here, but it was really saddening. Thomas Paine would have flipped. Young American boys and girls in school who are gifted, who are smart, innately smart, and who have done their homework and learned, are actually scoring intentionally lower on exams so they don't get straight A's because they want to be accepted so badly by their peers. Talk about the malignant pressure of peers. There it is. And that's a true story. It happened in the UK, too.
Well, again, look at, the system is it's being run by people that do not have an enlightened view of civilization.
No.
And so that it has to change. And to me, very few are getting in touch with their heart. And when that happens, when they get in touch with their heart, everything will change.
See, that's true, and that's what great music, a Verdi opera, that's what great music does. Music is explained by some people as beside math, the voice of the universe. And it may well be. We take a break now. Thomas Paine died June the 8th, 1809, at age 72, in New York City.
what's going on now is this is a critical juncture. I've been doing Trends in the News, as I said, part of the subscription for the Trends Journal. And I have to tell you, Jeff, in my heart, I feel that something terrible is going to happen very shortly.
Sorry, I agree with you. Yeah.
And it's going to be something that's going to get the people's minds off the failing economic system. It'll
totally misdirect them away from what you're talking about. It's going to be a shock.
Yes. People forget, the dot-com crash came in March of 2000, which, by the way, we forecast. It's right on our forecast page at trendsjournal.com. Mm-hmm. We said it would happen by the second quarter of 2000. So now it happens. The NASDAQ crashes from 5,000. What is it, about 3,500 today? 13 years later, it still hasn't come back. Mm-hmm. And what happened after that, and I remember that happens in March of 2000. 9/11, how many months later is that? September, from March, 8, 9 months. Mm-hmm. The nation was in a severe recession. People forget this. They hated George Bush. You go back to the polls and you look at George Bush's poll numbers, his ratings. In August of 2001, he was the buffoon, comedy, clown president.
Mocked him all the time.
Everybody hated him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, September 11th, and there he is at ground zero with the fireman next to him talking tough.
A leader.
Our leader, and everything changed. Yeah. And what people forget, as we were in recession, they lowered interest rates to 46-year lows, and they created the real estate and the buying and borrowing and derivative and collateralized debt obligations, synthetic collateralized debt obligations, and auction rate securities, and any other scam that they could invent, and they blew up the economy. And then we got into where we are in 2008. Now we've gone through how many years of quantitative easing, how many years of promises that the stimulus programs were going to regenerate the economy and have failed. We look at all of the employment numbers, the unemployment numbers, the people on food stamps, and on and on and on, and we could see the gross failure of all of the Washington's policies. When all else loses, they take you to war. And my belief is they're taking us to war.
Well, we're getting damn close of any number of different venues. It'll happen on a day when it will not happen as expected.
No, of course not.
It never does. And it'll shock the country to the extent that they're going to do a George Bush on Barack Obama. All of a sudden, he'll be the leader. People will look to him. It's the greatest psychological scam ever.
Yes. They did it before, and they continue to do it. Hey, remember this one? How about Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda, I tell you?
Colin Powell.
You remember that little weasel? That little man?
Yep.
That sold his soul?
Yep.
Because he doesn't have a backbone?
Nope.
And all he did was punch his way up to the top. Hit all the right buttons. Punched his ticket. That's all he did. And how about Rumsfeld? And how about Cheney? And how about, who's that guy, the head of the CIA? That little weasel guy that was afraid to speak out.
Oh yeah, they come and they go.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know that the word leadership can be used in a normal, intelligent fashion with any of these people. However, that said, when that big thing, which is coming, everybody feels it, I think.
Yeah.
Comes down the road and roosts on your doorstep, folks, not, figuratively. Everything's going to change psychologically. Instantly. You watch. It'll just be like 9/11. People freaked out.
But it doesn't have to be. Again, we see the warning signs. and restoring America and bringing it back to its principles is a reality. And not to say, this was the great country and everything was perfect. No one's saying that. We slaughtered the Indians. We had the blacks enslaved. It wasn't nirvana over here.
Only 60 million indigenous peoples, that's all. 1985, 1990. And that litany of things that we started the program with. We had one or two issues. Maybe. And then there'd be seemingly weeks would go by and there wouldn't be much of anything.
That's right.
Remember? Of course you do.
Yep.
And now it's just nonstop. It's a hamster wheel to hell, and people can't get off of it.
That's a great line, by the way. It's a hamster wheel to hell, and the people can't get off it.
Please have at it.
How about a fiscal cliff? We could play that one for about 2 years. How about a little bit of sequester for you? You don't know what it means? Don't worry about it. Sounds bad.
I'll have another helping of quantitative easing for dessert.
No, you really nailed it. They keep fear and hysteria is their game.
Yeah, it's the meme, and they got it down because they own the media and they know this is a science. What you're talking about, the rebirth of this nation, it's a reality. It's within the hearts and souls of all those who still have hearts and souls, but they've got to manifest it. They've got to free it somehow. They've got to let it out. Unfortunately, the science of domination, subjugation, and control, and the deepest cerebral and subliminal manipulation is real. And these people have at their disposal the best minds. Go to Tavistock back in the 30s where it all started. Edward L. Bernays in the 20s when he taught women about liberation and taught people that ham and eggs and bacon and eggs were a real breakfast. The beginning of marketing and mass mind manipulation, configuration, control. They knew. This is, folks, almost 100 years later. It's a science. It's not a guessing game anymore. They can come out plus or minus 2% with almost any scenario they want to run into their computers. And they know what this captive audience is going to spit back. They know. That's not to say we can't change it. That potential is always there, but we're up against something so insidious. I simply say rewind to 1985, 1990, and remember, try and go back and look at some newspapers. What were the issues then? They're nothing compared to what we have now.
No, you're right. It's every day a new crisis. But I really believe that with an age of generosity, if people open their hearts up, the whole thing could change.
I'm with you on that. I totally believe you. I would never argue.
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I didn't believe it.
You didn't think so. Of course.
Yeah. I did a show today, and somebody said, you should run for president. I said, what are you out of your mind? I said, our work is to inform people,
right,
but more so that people reach the highest levels within them. Because when you do that, then you see through everything, and you don't take crap from, a bunch of losers.
Right.
Like, again, the people you hated in high school and college that are now your senators, your congressmen, and your presidents. They follow their career path.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open your heart up and see who you are, you don't tolerate this anymore. Now, this country has everything that we need to go to higher levels. So I believe it. But the higher level first has to come from the individual, and when they realize it within themselves and they say, I'm doing what I can do to change this place for a better place, then the place will change. That's just my belief.
I'm on the same page. I'll get in the same car with you. Let's drive.